That is, of course, Dropkick Murphy's cover of Creedence Clearwater Revival's Fortunate Son.
Because we couldn't get the rights to the original.
We couldn't even get the rights to that song. How's it going, Robot Wars fans? Hardcore Kid here with the latest edition of the Hardcore Podcast. To my left, representing the East, we have Otaku Nate.
And we come bearing sad news.
Yeah.
We're not going to beat around the bush. We're just going to get right into it. Yesterday, the day before St. Patty's Day, little slip of the tongue there. The BBC announced that Robot Wars would not be renewed for another season. Actually, no, Mentorn announced it. The BBC couldn't even bring themselves to do it.
Yeah, we checked a lot of teams on Twitter. The Carbide team and a few others said, "Oh, BBC's not renewing the show."
Concussion, Toron,
everybody basically.
Yeah.
And we have Ian Miller, aka Resetti's Replicas, joining us for this episode,
representing the North,
the far north.
Like all of us are from the North.
I'm not Canadian.
You're near there though. You're as Canadian as Rob Mosaic.
Not even
that.
Yeah, not even close, Brandon. He'd be Canadian if he was in like northern Vermont or Maine.
I think I got the politeness nailed down.
Yeah,
that's true.
But yeah, and it's a shame. Because just last month, everybody was celebrating the 20th anniversary of Robot Wars. Robot Wars first aired in, was it January or February 1998? February, yeah. That was when the first episode of Series 1 first aired.
And the big winner, of course, would go on to be a giant-ass wedge.
Not just any kind of wedge, a road sign wedge. Which
That's still one of my favorite designs in Robot Wars history.
Yeah, you know what? When I went to Mass Destruction, I fought a robot that had a road sign as a wedge.
Yeah.
Are we talking Existential Crisis?
Lend Me a Sign was the name of it. It was made out of a handicapped spot sign. Yeah, I didn't have the match uploaded because it was kind of subpar. But I think I saw someone else had it. If you Google Lend Me a Sign Derpy on YouTube, you'll probably find it. So, but we're not going to be talking about any of the other events right now. We're going to be continuing our reviews of Robot Wars Extreme Warriors, our very own American edition. And we're actually going to be reviewing 2 episodes today, mainly because, well, the second episode we're going to be doing, well, it was kind of subpar. Only 4 matches.
One of which was good.
Yeah. But we're going to talk about an episode that was kind of meh, but did have its moments, and that is the Civil War, which featured 4 robots representing North, aka the Union, and 4 robots representing the South, aka the Confederacy. Those damn dirty racists. And in the end,
Southerners.
And in the end, the South ended up winning.
The South did indeed rise again.
Yeah. So, we're going to be talking about each of the competitors first. We'll start off with the actual winner of the Civil War, and honestly, I think there was no competition for this thing.
It was a one-robot heat.
Yeah.
I mean, Revolutionist might have, but...
But it is, of course, Manta.
Spinner!
Yeah, Manta,
If this was in the actual UK Robot Wars, this could have been a heat finalist, maybe even a semi-finalist.
Yeah, it's a very solid machine. I'll give it that. It's very fast. The disc, I mean, in the second series, it's much better, but here it wasn't hugely powerful. Save for one particular moment that happens in this episode, but yeah.
I mean, it was a rammer first and foremost.
Yeah,
They almost won Robotica with that same design. I think they were my favorite in Robotica.
Yeah.
I was half tempted to do the old Manta, Rambot. Oh, and there's a spinner in there too.
Yeah, it's good, and this was hands down their best performance, but unfortunately you're going to have to get used to this performance because after this, it just...
It's all downhill from here.
One of the biggest problem with Manta doesn't have to do with the weapon isn't effective or that it has no Shremek. The batteries run out on it a lot. Like, it can't go the full 5 minutes without the batteries crapping out on it.
Did they not bring a charger?
They did bring a charger, but the batteries just didn't have enough juice.
It's like these. I mean, when you're budgeting weight, you're putting in exactly as much battery as you need for the entire fight, and sometimes like even less. So you're limping the last 30 seconds and hoping you've already won by that point.
Yeah, and it really wasn't an issue for Manta in this episode, since it basically it was basically able to knock out all 3 of its opponents very quickly.
It was squashing everything.
Yeah, but it's a very solid machine. Jeff Sesnick looks like a really nice guy.
Yeah, they were one of, like, given that they were trying to present it like Robot Wars Extreme 1, they definitely did what they could with what little promo skills they had.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff, he's not really like sometimes he cuts the occasional promo, but he's not like totally over the top.
He's no Bobby Heenan.
Bobby Heenan or Brian Nave. Oh God.
We'll get
talk about promos. Yeah, but yeah, Manta, representing Stephen City, Virginia of the Confederacy, managed to win this thing. So let's move on to the runner-up, the other part of the Confederacy, and hands down one of the best names of a robot I have ever seen in my life. From Linwood, North Carolina, the $6 Million Mouse.
The $6 Million Mouse. Lawnmower.
Yeah. Don't you mean pounds?
No. This was, for the most part, a comedy entrant, but I will say...
It's a good comedy entrant.
Yeah, when the weapon...
Yeah, I love the artwork.
When the weapon was actually working, it did do some good damage, but for the most part, it looks really silly. There's parts hanging off of it, there's fur on it, there's this mouse tail that's supposed to be the Shremek, but it didn't work.
I was wondering, like, what's that thing? Is that supposed to be an axe of sorts?
It's
definitely a self-right, or if it got flipped all the way upside down.
It looks like a squished version of Wild Thing, the Series 5 version.
Except little bit more destructive, I think, and that's saying a lot, I'll tell you.
Really,
I don't
that's
know.
not
It's a
saying
toss
much.
up there.
I don't even remember Wild Thing actually doing... The only time I ever saw Wild Thing actually do damage with that disc was against Napalm, of all robots.
That's not hard. I could punch that thing and it would make a dent. And I'm not that strong.
Yeah. But much kudos to the mouse for managing to come runner-up. It was solid for the most part, except when it was just getting battered all over the place. It did some decent damage to Falcon. It did some decent damage to Sobek, and you gotta give it credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll move on to the second round fights, and if you want to see a dollar store dissector in Robot Wars, look no further than Sobek.
Sobek. Jaws. What the heck is that thing?
It's basically a heavyweight dissector or a lockjaw. you can tell they were inspired by.
It looks
Dissector.
it looks like the bastard child of Dissector and King Bee Power Works.
Minus all the power.
Shout out to Simon Harrison.
Yeah. They're
What is with those things on the side? Like, your machine is invertible. Why do you have those arms on the side?
I think, like, they say they're self-riding arms, which begs the question why, because the robot itself is invertible. I think they wanted to make them axes, but I guess they just didn't have the power for them. They decided, okay, let's just have them on there. Maybe we can use them to lift. If we grab hold of somebody in the jaw, we can then lift them up and push them around. No,
just no. Oh,
no.
Also, I'm pretty sure that those jaws were made out of cheese graters.
Yeah.
With all the holes in them, I think, yeah, you just took the cheese grater and just took a blowtorch to it.
Yeah, this robot was pretty much useless for the most part.
When we do our awards, it's a high candidate for worst weapon.
Yeah.
You're doing awards for Extreme Warriors?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? I mean, we're already ripping off Jim Dramatic as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're hoping to have Jim for the U.S. Championship or some of the Extreme Warriors episodes. I don't know. Maybe he'll start reviewing Extreme Warriors. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
You can never tell with Jim. You can never tell if he's going to make his own cover of "We Didn't Start the Fire" with Robot Wars lyrics. What do you think of this? Ian, you have a robot that is based off of an alligator. What did you think of Sobek?
I thought it was definitely a good idea. They're also from Massachusetts, so
Hey,
in a way I was rooting for them. But in terms of crocodile-based robots from Massachusetts, I've seen better.
You don't get crocs in Massachusetts, do you?
No, they
Nope.
don't. It's too cold for the alligators. Alligators are strictly in the South, bro, and we're not just talking Florida, man.
I think I saw a gator in my lake a couple years ago. I don't know.
Really?
I think they're heading north. I don't know, but
Well, yeah, crocs we don't have around here. They're like on the other hemisphere or something, and they're a lot more terrifying than gators.
I think crocodiles are more native to Africa, but I don't know. I'm not up on my zoology.
Australia, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Australia, possibly Africa. Caimans, though, those are like the apex beasts of the reptile family. They're like crocs with even less fucks given.
Yeah, but that pretty much covers Sobek. It's a diet dissector, all I'm going to say. So we'll move on to the other second round finisher here, and thank God this isn't the same Spike from Series 3. But it wasn't all that great, but then again, it's only a loner bot. It is Spike.
Spike. Axebot. This looks like a Tut-Tut reskin.
Well, a little interesting fact, the axe that's on Spike, Tut-Tut actually used that axe in the House Robot Rebellion.
My point exactly.
Same exact one?
Yeah. Especially if you look at it when Chris Harriman is showing it off in the pit, it's got the same axe. But, yeah, given that it's a loner bot, it doesn't really have a whole lot of power to it.
It looks like Shunt's bastard child.
If Shunt was a furry.
Oh, God.
Yeah, no more pictures, Nate.
Oh, no.
Oh, not after last time.
Yeah, you're cut off from picture taking.
Yeah, but,
I will say that it was funny how many like little pieces of styrofoam they needed to make the decorative sharp bits safe. That did absolutely nothing in combat.
yeah, have fun with that.
Should have just kept them on. It would have given us a nice display.
It looks like some woman in the hair salon getting their hair curled and having all those ridiculous pieces of aluminum foil and styrofoam sticking out of it. It's like, what are these? What are they thinking?
What? I don't know. Apparently that bleaches your hair.
But yeah,
I don't get it.
This was driven by Jim Rowland, who competed with Spartacus in both the U.S. Championship and the World Championship in Series 7.
I met that guy.
Yeah, I met him at We both met him at Bot Blast, Pennsylvania Bot Blast, a few years ago.
Apparently, he never saw the Series 7 broadcast of the World Championships until I told him about it.
Did he think they just didn't show it?
That's exactly what happened. He thought that they didn't show it because it was so boring.
Wow.
Maybe he didn't have G4 Tech TV. You know, back when it was a thing. Yeah.
Fuck.
R.I.P. It had Ninja Warrior, Robot Wars, a bunch of other crappy video game shows.
Hey, I liked X-Play.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was like
alright.
not a serious review show, but it was very entertaining.
Yeah. Anyway, Spike. It's Spike.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. So
They could have beat Bot Ugly.
I don't know. Speaking
like
of
fair and square.
yeah. Speaking of which, let's move on to the first round losers. Starting with what I like to refer to as Jellyfish's redneck uncle. From Tyler, Texas, it's Bot Ugly.
Bot Ugly. Gripper.
Yeah. So a little fun fact about Bot Ugly in this match, it actually started upside down.
Oh yeah.
Because when it competed in the U.S. Championship, it was right side up. The jaws were like directly like an inch off the ground.
But it looks like they're supposed to go under the robot.
Yeah, and obviously wouldn't be able to grip onto anything, but it was certainly more effective here, but it still didn't help it in the long run because it still broke down.
Hey,
What exactly happened there?
I don't know.
I saw some smoke coming out of it, so I
Guessing
think it burns itself
I
out.
think it's speed controllers or motors may have went. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It at least has the most important feature though. Googly eyes.
Yay! Yeah. Well, I don't know. What do you think of Bot Ugly, Ian?
I think it's really cool the way it looks like two completely different robots depending on which way it's flipped.
Yeah.
That's nice.
It really it definitely looks like a prototype Tough as Nails with the jaw. It's basically a control bot. You grab onto something, you move it around. The biggest problem is though, because it's the electronics are exposed. The motors don't have a whole lot of power
The
to
axe
it.
went right through its 5-hole.
It's what now?
It's 5-hole, the space between your legs. It's a hockey reference. I can't go an episode without making a hockey reference of sorts.
You know, this thing could make a good hockey
No,
bot.
you cannot.
or soccer bot. If it competed in techno games, it could easily win the soccer contest.
Maybe. Lot better than most of the teams that competed in the soccer tournament would just get blown out. But yeah, when Bot Ugly worked, it looked cool, and then it decided not to work. So it
Yeah,
wasn't
Spike
cool.
was the perfect opponent. Like it had that very, what do you call it? Like a lot of airspace with very thin armor. Like it would have been crushed like a soda can if it had been working.
Yeah,
I somehow doubt this thing could crush a soda can.
it could crush a Twinkie maybe. I don't know. So yeah, that covers Bot Ugly. What was the second match on the show? I like to go in order between matches.
All right.
Hold
let's-
up, I
It
got
was
this.
it was
It's Falcon and Mouse.
Falcon.
Falcon, modular robot,
Yeah.
and none of its weapons are really good.
I will say this though, in the one time where it had the flipping arm, it kind of worked. But instead it opted to go with that horrible axe weapon.
You know what it reminds me of? Undertaker from Series 3.
Well, at least it didn't lose drive, but
Yeah, I mean, every builder I've spoken to says it's impossible to make a weapon system that can both be an axe and a flipper.
well, Exterminator managed to pull it off okay.
And so wasn't Trax also... Didn't Trax have an axe or something?
It was just a forward flipper.
Okay.
Who else had the axe? Bombshell had an axe, and
Yeah.
I believe
Yeah,
it
I
had a
mean, but that's like they took out the entire pod to make it happen.
Yeah,
With
that's the-
Falcon. It looks like they just reoriented or used the exact same electronics, just moved some bits of metal around.
Yeah, but well, I believe it had 2 different axe weapons in this series, and neither of them worked.
Neither of them were any good.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't... even if you waited, you couldn't get a good hit on it.
And
Yeah, I do like the sort of scrapyardish way that their axe looks. Like
I love it.
Like I mean I like how like I like it when robots look like they couldn't get exactly what they wanted. They had to find things in the scrapyard and make the best of them. So
Something.
like for their axe they couldn't just get a shaft and a sharp thing. They had to get like bits and bobs of everything, stick them together, and MacGyver an axe. And that to me is the spirit of robot combat.
Like Exterminator season 4 axe. Looked like they made it out of a coat hanger.
at least this one had some speed to it, kinda.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the Dead Blow style axe.
But yeah, the biggest issue with Falcon, and obviously it's shown in the weakness, it's very slow. And when you have a wedge bot that is very slow, you're gonna be in trouble. And considering that this thing was outpushed by the $6 million mouse,
Oof.
yeah. And this thing had four matches, and it lost all of them. But the good news is they did come back next year with an upgraded version of Falcon, and they managed to make it to the grand final. So, hey, robots get better. But yeah, speaking of horrendous robots,
Oh man.
let's talk about another loner bot, Tiger Cat.
Tiger Cat. Furry.
So here's the story behind Tiger Cat. The team originally showed up with a robot called the Wife, which was like this big set of vertical jaws, I think.
Oh my god, I would have loved to have seen that.
but they couldn't
Yeah,
get it to work.
apparently
And
humanoid looking too.
yeah.
Oh, that makes it
Oh,
even
God.
better.
What the hell? They had a picture there. It's not there anymore. Yeah, and apparently they couldn't get it to work. And unfortunately, given the team's history, they were also supposed to compete on BattleBots a few times, and they couldn't get any of their robots to work. There's a picture of it. I'll show a picture of it on the screen, and
It looks.
I don't even know what to say
interesting.
about it. It looks like Tower of Doom. Just this ridiculous looking thing on it. 4 jaws. It looks ridiculous. And I don't think it would have helped it even if they used it in the regular championship. And the one thing that really scares me about Tiger Cat is the fact that it was the last robot running in the U.S. Championship heat it was in. Could you imagine if it had won the match and it was a semifinalist?
Oh my god.
Oh, dear Lord.
Yeah, who would it have beaten out?
It would not have beaten Panzer. I'm going to tell you right now.
I mean, like, which robot actually won that heat?
Manta, even though it was
Manta.
dead. Although it did get its revenge in this match in more ways than one. Yeah, Tiger Cat. And what even was I'm pretty sure this thing was made out of just fur and no armor to speak of.
It had like breakaway armor pieces that were like attached to.
A frame?
I don't know. I'm guessing like it's made out of very thin HDPE or something.
I don't even think HDPE was a thing back then. No. This... Yeah, I mean... The loner
Yeah,
bots
it was just a very thin frame, like with things bolted on. It happens to my bots. Like the panels are made of good material, but the screws, they're just not enough or not well mounted.
Close
And this
enough
falls
was
off.
sturdier than this.
Well, to be fair, Close Enough was built by a team that have experience. This thing was built by the Nudniks at BBC, who just took multiple versions of the same robot platform and stuck a bunch of shit on it. That's a loner bot in a nutshell.
British engineering, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, well, I will say it looked very nice when it went up in flames.
Oh yeah, that's the one upside.
Oh yeah, you guys know about that, right?
Yeah,
Why it went up in flames?
because
so
they doused it. They doused it in WD-40 because they wanted to get rid of this thing as much as possible.
Yep.
Yeah. And so we'll move on to the final loser in this match or
The
this
most
episode.
unfortunate.
Yeah, it is the most American robot to ever enter Robot Wars, the Revolutionist.
The Revolutionist. Body Spinner.
Yep. Brian Neve still competing today with Captain Shredderator, which is basically like a flat version of this thing.
Looks like he took the Revolutionist and put it in a hydraulic press.
Yeah, and I've seen those hydraulic press videos. Those are really fun to watch. But God bless the Revolutionist. It might be the runner-up in the U.S. Championship, but I don't even think it was all that great in this first series. Mm-hmm. It was like the teeth.
Let's not talk about what happens to it in season 2.
I don't want to.
That was the upset of the entire Extreme Warriors series.
But it really feels like this version just seemed to be more designed to just shred rather than just like get big monstrous hits on its opponents. And I don't know if that was the idea or that Brian Neve was having trouble with the weapon motor.
I think that he was told that he had to turn it down for safety because Robot Wars Arena not as good as the BattleBots Arena.
Well,
your Lexan walls.
The newer arena at least rectified that problem, sort
Yep.
of.
Sort of. Yeah, it was a disappointing showing by the Revolutionist, but I think this was Brian's first robot. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, at least BattleBot combat-wise.
Well, it was his first appearance. I believe Revolutionist would be repainted and entered in BattleBots as Frisbee.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I think it might be. And I know they built a super heavyweight version as well called Frisbee Ultimate.
Yes.
Yep.
And I gotta give props to Brian Navi in this episode. He was really selling the whole thing. Like, he had if we gave an award for best dressed Roboteers, he and his partner would easily be on the top.
Yeah.
They had everything. They had the red, white, and blue Uncle Sam outfits, the big, gaudy USA hats.
He was living the gimmick.
Yeah, I'm hoping that one of the UK teams for the new series of BattleBots does that. Like they dress up, like they come out in Union Jack shirts, waving the flag, cutting anti-USA promos. Get on it, Craig.
Well, I'm sure Craig might do that. I'm not sure about all the other teams, unfortunately.
Tim and Tommy may strike me as two guys who could do it.
Yeah, little fun fact. Tim from Concussion and Tom from Toron, they've teamed up. Of course they've teamed up. They're inseparable.
They're Robot Wars' most iconic duo.
Yep, and they're going to be competing in BattleBots, the up-and-coming season, which filming starts in a few weeks, and I believe it airs in May or June or such.
Hashtag pray for Tommy.
Yeah. I mean, now that he's finally got a couple bots together and working, hopefully he won't get screwed out of debris on the floor or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that pretty much covers all the machines. Let's get to the matches, and honestly, it was kind of a mixed bag here. Spike versus Bot Ugly was, given that it's a crusher versus an axe that doesn't work, it was pretty boring.
Yeah, the one highlight was when Spike got its axe stuck in the floor.
For me, it was when it got the axe stuck in Matilda.
Oh, yeah.
You want to get a piece of that? Hey, be thankful that Jonathan Pierce wasn't commentating your match.
Yeah. But basically, 95% of the match was just the two robots in a deadly embrace. It was the longest bear hug you've ever seen in your life.
Let go of me! Let go of me! I can't! My axe is stuck in your 5-hole!
Yeah. And then it looked like Bot Ugly was about to win, and then it started smoking, and as it turns out, Bot Ugly was immobilized, so Spike, Shunt, and Matilda just went ahead and pushed it into the pit. It's kind of a shame, but you know what? That happens.
Yeah, it kind of annoyed me that the house robots helped that much.
Yeah, that's a common theme in these two episodes, that the house robots are going to be interfering a lot. I guess they have to remind us that this is their territory, and I mean their territory. This is the UK. You Yanks aren't welcome here.
Why do they always have to have two house robots going into the CPZ? I mean, shouldn't they just stay in their own? I mean, remember back in Series 3 or whatever, there was always 4 house robots, one in each corner, and sometimes they always had, and usually it was just one house robot a corner, and then all of a sudden you have like 2 or 3 house robots just going right in attacking. It's almost as bad as the PPZ.
Yeah.
Well,
That was just like put a toe in there and you get gangbanged.
yeah. Well, so Spike ended up winning, so 1 point to the North. And so we move on to Falcon versus the $6 Million Mouse. In the battle between bird and mouse, usually the bird comes out on top. Not in this case.
The mouse ate the falcon.
Yes. And it really shows. Like, Falcon is slow, sluggish. The axe doesn't really do anything. The mouse was able to get some decent hits, like not super amazing hits, but it was able to outmuscle Falcon, push it into the wall, get it into Shunt. And that was enough to get the
Shunt got some good axe hits on Falcon, put a big dent in its top.
Yeah. And there was Falcon, it almost looked like it had a chance of winning. It managed to get the mouse up onto its side. And I think if they had gotten on its side and left it there, they probably could have won. But alas, it was not to be.
Leave it alone, Leon.
What's that reference to?
Oh, Leon Lett of the Dallas Cowboys. He was a special teams player. Basically, on a punt, the ball was ruled dead, and he went after it trying to scoop it up or something, and somebody said, "Leave it alone, Leon!" He touched it, dropped it, and allowed the Dolphins to run it into the end zone for a touchdown.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Sorry, my phone went off. Yeah, that happens. So yeah, that pretty much covers Falcon versus the Mouse. And now we get to, I'd say, would you say, this wasn't even a fight, let's be honest here, but one of my favorite moments in this entire episode was Manta versus Tiger Cat.
Oh yeah, Andre the Giant versus Paul Roma. I'm running out of WWE jobbers.
Yeah, but basically,
Manta just tore this thing asunder.
just deface this thing,
Yep.
just like nothing. Yeah, it was delightful. And then I guess the Tiger Cat guys realized, okay, we're done with this thing. Let's drive on to the flame pit and burn this thing to bits.
Oh yeah, they wanted to burn it right away, and it seemed like once they're like, "Oh, there's the flames," they're
Burn
like, "Yeah,
the
we're all
witch!"
over that."
Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry?
Okay, what's that reference now?
The Tiger by William Blake.
Ah,
Yeah,
Jonathan
had a
Pierce.
feeling you'd bring that up.
Jonathan Pierce used that reference, and so can I.
yeah, but it's always so great. It ranks up there with Dietor on Fire and just seeing something just completely go up in flames.
My favorite Inferno moment. It's still Granny's revenge, mostly because as a kid that design terrified me.
Oh God, yes. Although I still say the most terrifying moment in this entire history is when the clown's face went up.
Oh,
And they actually have a picture of the clown's face in that little Extreme Warriors catalog, and it's in black and white. It is horrifying. It looks like something out of a horror movie. But yeah, Manta just completely obliterates Tiger Cat. I just have one thing to say about this match. Me ouch. Meouch.
meow.
Yeah. Meow. And now we move on to Diet Sector versus the Reva Frisbee.
Yeah.
Jinx.
Jinx.
There's nothing to say about this one. The Revolutionist just died.
Well, tinfoil hat on for a second. I think they needed an equal number of Northerners and Southerners in the next round, so the House Robots were a bit helpful there.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, they needed Sobek to win.
Well,
That's all I'm going to say. Like,
the best part is basically Refbot gives Sergeant Bash a yellow card for attacking Sobek, and then Sergeant Bash just fires his flamethrower at Refbot.
Because screw you.
A sign of things to come in the next year.
Yeah, I mean, the Revolutionists got screwed like this in Nick Tag Terror too. I don't know if you remember, but like
I don't want to remember that Tag Terror event because they basically gave the UK the win.
Yeah, exactly. That's the exact same thing that happened here. They had the Revolutionists' opponent get unfairly picked on, so the opponent gets the win as a sort of restitution. Yeah. Revolutionist gets screwed.
Yeah.
So that happened in Nick and happened here. Poor Revolutionist.
Poor Brian Navi.
And it's not like Sobek even really did anything in this match. The jaws just couldn't get around the body. It was basically I don't recall it really doing much. Maybe a few slams. Like I know the tire popped off at one point, but no.
Yeah, I think occasionally they managed to bite it for like half a sec.
Yeah. Yeah, this even Mick Foley at the very end was just like, "Oh, this wasn't a very good match."
Yep.
We'd show highlights, but there weren't any. Yeah.
One thing I gotta say, before I get to what my favorite part about this whole episode was, I love how they tried to hide the fact that this show is being filmed in the UK, when, if you've seen UK Robot Wars, you can see Julia Reed in the background at one point, along with the Stinger team, too. But my favorite one was them saying that Professor Noel Sharkey is a professor of cybernetics at Stanford and Yale.
They said that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right after the first judge's decision.
Huh.
Those are those UK universities?
No! Stanford's in California, Yale is in New Haven, Connecticut.
Well, maybe they're also the names of the ones in the UK.
I don't think so.
Hey, British guys, can you tell us if Stanford and Yale are UK
Don't
colleges?
bother asking, I already know. Remember, Brandon, I'm the smart one.
SMRT.
Well, most American cities are named after British cities anyway.
We've got several here in New Jersey, but that's neither here nor there. But I do want to say...
Yeah, we have a Sussex, a Somerset.
An Essex, Gloucester.
Bergen?
No, there's no Bergen. I thought Rutherford was a city in the United Kingdom because it sounds British.
From
But
Rutherford. Yeah.
we have Newark. Newark's
We
a
have
city in
we have a
England.
Newark, biggest shithole in this entire state.
Camden's telling you to hold its drink.
But
We
yeah.
got
Getting
a
off
Cambridge in Massachusetts,
Oh, there you
like
go.
where those kids from MIT are from.
We're wasting our time here.
Well, this is a very history-oriented episode. I mean, look at Mick Foley. He was dropping.
Oh yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, Mick Foley was great in this episode. The
Oh,
dude's
yeah.
outside of wrestling, he's a huge history buff.
Yeah, he was great. Let's be honest here. Mick Foley, say what you will about him, he's probably one of the best parts of these episodes. I mean, especially in the tag terror, which was very subpar, but Mick was just playing it up like crazy, especially since it's a tag team event, so he was clearly marking out for it, because he loves his tag team. But yeah, that covers the first round matches, so we're down to Sobek and the Mouse, but first, we get Spike versus Manta. Basically, this entire match was Spike imitating a swinging door, and Manta beating the ever-loving crap out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Shame we didn't get to see that debris shredded and bent all out of shape.
Well, we did get some very stupid sound effects when Manta was running into the side of it. It was like what the hell?
Was that real, or you think
That was
edited
that
it down?
I've heard that sound effect so many times. It's definitely a sound effect. Yeah, it was obvious, but this was basically all Mantis. Spike, I think, lost drive, or maybe
it
they lost
drive.
a
It was going in
reception.
circles.
Then it went backwards, ran into the wall. I think the radio reception just went on it or something. Either way, it was.
What do you do with a drunken robot? What do you do with a drunken robot? What do you do with a drunken robot on a Monday morning?
Better call Ripper's Alcoholics Anonymous group. Yeah, basically, Manta beat the hell out of it. Kill-A-Lot beat the hell out of it, and then finally, the Mouse ended up in the hole. Not much else to say, really. So we move on to Sobek versus the $6 Million Mouse. This was a very interesting match, I thought.
It's a pushing battle.
Yeah. But the Mouse was finally able to show off what it could do. I mean, the weapon actually could do damage. It managed to take off the arm. It got some good hits on the wheels until eventually one of Sobek's wheels just popped off. And then, of course, the House Robots had to interfere again. Dead Metal comes in to attack Sobek and gets a yellow card. Not that it made a difference because Sobek broke down anyway.
Yeah, I think they just interfered because this one was straight up boring.
Well, I'm sorry this isn't Chaos 2 and Hypnodisc for you guys.
Well, that fight wasn't all that great either until after it ended.
Yeah.
I'd say it wasn't Carbide versus Eruption.
No. Yeah, actually, what does this match remind me of? Oh God, I just realized what the Mouse reminds me of.
What?
Little Fly.
Oh. God.
The big difference though is that the Mouse actually could do damage while Little Fly couldn't break a piece of wood.
It also wasn't made out of cheese graters, and it didn't have a pointless light on the front of it.
No. It did have a nose though. It's a cute nose.
Which fell off.
Well, of course. Yeah, and in the end, the $6 Million Mouse basically won after Sobek derped. And so we move on to the Heat Final. In a Battle of the South, $6 Million Mouse versus Manta.
This was all Manta again.
Yep.
Manta just rammed the Mouse, got it on its side, pushed it into Kill-A-Lot's corner patrol zone. Kill-A-Lot picked it up, had some fun with it, put it on the floor flipper even though it hadn't been counted out yet. The Mouse got back on its wheels, but it was too late at that point.
Yeah. That's kind of weird. They set off the floor flipper right before it gets counted out. That reminds me of the Tornado 3 Stegs to Heaven match where they basically did the same thing. Yeah. Meh. I will say, Manta really did a number on the Mouse. It was just in pieces by the end of this thing. The tail was falling off.
The self-riding arm was hanging by a thread.
Blade was bent. It was a mess. But I think it was a well-deserved win for Manta.
Yeah.
And little interesting fact about Manta. They were able to take a trophy home. Jeff Sesnick actually does have a picture posted. I'll see if I can find the picture and post it here. But instead of saying Civil War on it, it says War of Independence. They basically were given Pussycat's War of Independence trophy.
Oh, that's horrible. Given what we're gonna see in the War of Independence.
Did they get given it, or did they just take it?
I
mean,
think
statute of limitations is up, so.
I think they might have taken it because I've heard rumors say that the trophies that they were given, that the competitors were given, were props. Like,
yeah, that is true. Most of them did not get to take them.
That sucks. Could you? I would have loved to have taken that belt home. I mean, what the hell? How come Tornado gets to take their belts home and we can't? We're not gonna have them on the plane. I don't know. What can you do? Hey, Manta got something. So
yeah, I think it was weird that they didn't line them up to guarantee a North-South final.
Yeah, I think they fixed that mistake in Series 2 when they made US versus US, UK versus UK, and also for the UK-Germany series, which was like... so at least it guaranteed a US-UK final instead of...
Germany with an asterisk at that point, I should say.
Yeah. And so Confederacy ends up winning, and now robots go back into slavery. I would go back now and tell Derpy to go and clean my room, but we have another episode that we have to cover, and it is the tag team episode.
Give me my phone. I'll play the theme.
Oh yeah, should we do our like ratings or something?
Yeah, let's do the rating first. I give it a 6.
I'll give it a 6 too.
Ian?
I'm gonna give it an 8.
Ooh.
Because while the matches weren't the best, it had some real raw aggression in there with Manta.
Actually, you know what?
Smashing stuff up.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I'll give it a 7.
Yeah, me too.
Mostly for Mick Foley's antics.
Mick Foley's antics. Oh, yeah. Manta really kicking ass, and I'm a big Manta guy. I was actually thinking of making my own Manta at one point, except I would actually make it invertible. But besides, in this day and age, you need a robot that can work either way up. Manta's just fortunate it didn't face any flippers. Unless you want to count Trilobite, but I don't want to. So yeah. So we're gonna insert a little ad right in the middle of the podcast, and then we'll go back to the tag team episode.
Yeah. It's funny, the North never really had a chance there, did they?
Not really.
I mean, I actually looked up to see if there was anything better they could have chosen to represent the North. Like the list of all the robots there was not. That was it.
I'm trying to think. Were there any bots from? I can't think of any.
Yeah, I mean the majority were from California.
Yeah, and that was before they were a union. I don't even think the new California Republic.
Didn't exist.
There we go. I got a new tournament for you. Robot Wars Fallout Edition. The NCR versus the Legion. I don't know.
Anyway,
and so is that divided by states?
Let's play. I don't know. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's take a break and we'll move on to the tag team episode. That is a great song. That was the Demolition theme. Demolition being the second longest reigning tag team champions of all time before they were beaten by the New Day in WWE. I think that would make a good song for Terahertz, wouldn't it? Here comes the axe, here comes the smasher.
Waiting for a good hit.
Yes.
Here comes the smasher eventually.
Yeah.
John Reed. Never change.
Yeah, we need more John Reed memes, especially in this time of sadness. Speaking of sadness, let's talk about the tag team episode.
We're not gonna go through the teams, I don't think.
No.
Like, mostly because we're all gonna be seeing these guys again.
Yeah. So basically, this episode, there was just 4 matches, 4 teams, about 10-15 minutes of fighting, and 45 minutes of filler.
30 minutes.
30 minutes. Commercials, I include filler.
Okay.
You know, even though I didn't upload it with commercials. But except when Passion Entertainment decided to put ads all over my videos, the bastards. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think we'll talk about the first match. It was Team Juggerbot, Tricerabot, and Rosie the Riveter versus who I like to call the Annihilators, which consisted of reigning champion Drillzilla and future Annihilator champion Chris Harriman with Lonerbot Tut Tut. And this was the best match on the show. And it was between 4 weaponless Rambots.
It was a total schmoz.
Yeah.
Like, Tut Tut I don't think even did anything.
Well, this was obviously before Chris Harriman decided to fix the pneumatics on the axe, because Tut Tut's axe just did nothing. It just relied on its big wedge shape, and again, that's what I think makes Tut Tut really good, is that it's got wedges all along the side.
Wedge!
Of course. Yeah, but basically, like, Tricerabot is usually really good, but it was fighting Drillzilla, which is just superior to it in every way.
It's a giant it's a giant block of metal, as they said in the final.
Yeah, and who was it that asked, "What's the point of the paper bags on Tricerabot?" It was you.
Yeah, I asked, like, what was the point of the sandbag on the back of Tricerabot?
Well, you got your answer here. It burned up very nicely.
Fire, I'll take you to burn.
Yeah, just seeing Tricerabot running around in flames is just gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, "Oh, this is stupid." No, Tricerabot. Who was it? I think it was Ian or Anderson. It's basically a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's got all the decorations on it, but it's a powerful machine. In fact, just like in the Rebellion, it knocked Matilda right on her side.
And then Sir Kill-A put her back on her feet.
Yeah.
Which was nice, considering that last time he did something involving Matilda, it involved taking one of her wheels off. Sir Kill-A on his quest for feet.
Yeah. I realized this, but if you took Drillzilla out and replaced it with Silverbox, this was almost the same as the Rebellion.
Yeah, pretty much.
Matilda got flipped over. It was basically everyone running around ramming into each other. And Kill-A obviously being a complete dick. And alas, he didn't end up getting fisted in the ass and into the pit in this match. But hey,
very nice.
I credit Mike for that joke. So yeah, basically Tricerabot burned. Rosie did what it could, but Drillzilla just slammed both of them around. Tricerabot ended up in the pit. Rosie the Riveter kind of survived, but in the end, the Annihilators won this match and move on to the final. And so we move on to the second round, featuring who I like to call Team Robotica, General Chomps-A-Lot and Runaway, versus the Job Squad, Falcon and Joker.
Fun fact, they actually mentioned Robotica in the pre-match interview because who's the guy behind General Chomps-A-Lot?
Oh god, yeah, Tim Berghofer. Yeah.
Yeah, Tim Berghofer mentions that he met Mark Jurger? Yeah, Mark Jurger at a robotics contest, and you can easily deduce, if you're a hardcore robotics fan, that it was indeed Robotica.
Yeah. That's why I call them Team Robotica. They both competed on Robotica. And Falcon and Joker, I call the Job Squad because up to this point, neither of them have won a match. Joker would go on to win a match, but not.
Sort of.
Sort of.
I mean, they beat a robot whose kill switch was just fucked and would have died if somebody breathed on it. So
yeah.
Rah-rah Joker.
Yeah.
Why so serious?
Why so serious?
Oh yeah, did you see the Tommy Wiseau Joker audition?
He makes a better Joker than Jared Leto.
Oh god, yes.
Or Sting.
Oh, yeah, but this was the one match that Falcon finally decided to put the lifter on, and it was against a robot that was invertible. So, well done. But I think it fared up quite well. I think up to General Chomps a lot, and then the two teams tagged in. Runaway, God bless it. It's not the most durable robot in the world.
It's just it's an oversized RC car with armor plates on it.
But it managed to get underneath Joker and actually did damage to Joker with those blades.
Well,
that was the
That's
most
your loaner
phenomenal
bot
part.
British engineering quality.
just remember, when it comes to that body spinner, as you know what, I hate to say this because I really don't mean to speak ill of the dead, and Aaron Jerger, God bless him, he's not with us anymore, but Aaron said, flails equals fails. Isn't that right, Rory Mangles?
Oh my goodness. Actually, I think that was Mark that said that.
Yeah, it was Mark that said it.
Yeah, God bless Aaron. He was obviously very. You can tell he was very camera shy when he was here, but he was very knowledgeable about robots. He actually ran the Ask Aaron on the Team Run Amok website for a number of years, and he had so much to talk about. It was really good. So basically, the first half of this match was Chompsalot and Runaway managed to get Joker onto the flame pit. Joker couldn't spin up anymore, and you could hear the gears grinding inside it. So obviously the gearing was completely cooked. And then for whatever reason, Kill-A-Lot decides to come out and attack Runaway.
Well, he had every right to. This match sucked.
It had its moments, but it's like, dear God, man. Oh, a couple things we forgot to mention. Number one, in the first match, they said that it was going to be Matilda and Shunt. And then Shunt instead it turned out to be Kill-A-Lot, just going around the entirety of the match. And I was like, boy. And I love the comment on the YouTube page. It says, wow, Shunt must have gained 400 pounds in between fights. And it's like, yeah, and it wasn't a good fight. And to get to this fight was a real nightmare because before this, we had an endless amount of filler. And let's talk about the filler in this episode.
They showed like clips of the house robots. I'm like, you've been doing this all season long. Oh my God, stop!
Yeah, I guess when you have an episode that has only 4 matches, you can only fill it up with whatever you can. And
padding.
Well, at least they made the right choice of making it 7 matches in the second season. But yeah, they had video packages, they had interviews, they had all kinds of garbage.
They showed the fight board twice.
Oh, dear God. No good. So, but in the end, Runaway and General Chompsalot were given the victory. I would argue, but given that they decided to focus entirely on Kill-A-Lot attacking Runaway rather than looking at the actual fight, we're going to have to take what we can get. I don't know, because Joker's weapon wasn't working. I don't know what Falcon and I guess General Chompsalot spent the entire match just bumping into them. I don't know.
It's another one of those things where, like, the house robots where they kind of throw out the match and give it to whomever the house robots unfairly picked on.
Yeah. Well, that's a reason, like I said, some people don't like Robot Wars because of the house robots. People were angry when Matilda flipped Magnetar in the grand final. People were angry when Shunt attacked Gabriel in the World Series. But, you know what? That's what Robot Wars is known for. These big, overweight behemoths. These behemoths running around. Speaking of behemoth, we get more endless amounts of filler, including a flashback. Was this? I guess they showed highlights of the Eliminator matches.
I don't know.
I don't know. I skipped it. There's a good reason why I initially uploaded just the matches for Robot Wars. Nobody wants to look at all this filler. Nobody. Mike was in tears at the end of his review. Speaking of sadness, let's talk about Team Juggerbot versus the Job Squad in the third place playoff.
Well, no. In the words of Tentagester,
Oh God. Well, this is why we didn't have Owain join us for this episode. He would have flipped. So this match, Falcon, who is fighting 2 robots who, if they were flipped over, wouldn't be able to self-right, decides to come back with a new axe weapon, which was equally as shitty as the other one. They're fighting Rosie the Riveter, who at this point had complete speed controller failure and was just going back and forth the entire time. They have the most horrendous... The opening minute of this was god-awful. Falcon just flailing away at nothing. Rosie going back and forth doing nothing. The two robots... And then all of a sudden, all four robots end up in the arena at the same time. Tricerabot decides to hell with this and starts ramming everything that moves. Thank God Tricerabot was the savior of this episode. But, yeah. And then it was basically just Tricerabot bashing into Joker, immobilizing it. Falcon ended up... This really shows just how terrible Falcon's wedge is. Tricerabot managed to get its gravediggers underneath Falcon's wedge and just push it around. And, yeah. This match was all Tricerabot, and at one point it got lit up by Sergeant Bash.
Stefan Frank.
Oh, Stefan.
Never change.
He's an underrated commentator. I know people hate him. I think he was good.
He was fine.
Yeah, he was fine in this episode. He was very excited. And considering this episode was supposed to be made like a tag team episode you'd see in like wrestling, I think he kind of matched the whole wrestling Robot Wars.
I was surprised when he said... I was surprised at him getting... I laughed at him getting outrage of the rules going out the window in almost every fight. And I'm like, Stefan... This is a Robot Wars tag match. Do you expect them to follow the rules?
Yeah.
I don't know. Apparently they have some guidelines, like, for the tag matches. They tell the robots, like, stick to the format for the first, I don't know, half or so, and then in the second half, just quote-unquote break the rules with everybody coming out at once.
Well, somebody should have told Concussion that. Yeah, so Tricerabot pitted Joker and Falcon and itself, but it was a good final showing for the Juggerbots overall. If you want to exclude Rosie, who did nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and so we move on to the final match of this event: Drillzilla and Tut Tut versus General Chompsalot and Runaway. Out of all the tag team matches we've seen in Robot Wars, this was the one time where I think everybody followed the rules.
Yeah.
And as a result, it made this match even more boring.
Yeah, it was pretty much just all Drillzilla in this match. Drillzilla was pushing Runaway all around the arena. It threw Chompsalot in the pit in entertaining fashion.
Yeah, but I do give credit to Runaway. I mean... It's not easy going up against somebody like Drillzilla who just pushes you around, but it managed to hang in there. And then General Chompsalot comes in, just gets completely mauled. And finally, Drillzilla, who, by the way, lost all the confetti now. I guess this was right before or after the World Championship. So, yeah, all the scales on the back were gone, so it's just a brick that says Drillzilla on top. And it got General Chompsalot in the pit, and then it was down to Runaway and Tut Tut. And Tut Tut just managed to use its wedge to get Runaway right into its side. The end. The winner are the Annihilators. Woo! This episode sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna give this thing like a 3 out of 10.
I give it a 2, with the only 2 points being the first match was really good, and seeing Tricerabot in flames was really entertaining. And the other point is for Mick Foley just completely going full muffins in this episode. Just like choking himself, just going completely mankind.
Like even he admitted that the playoff match was bad.
Yeah.
It stinks out here, and I'm not talking about the flames.
Yeah. Ian?
Yeah,
What rating would you give this?
I'm going 2, honestly. I mean, I'm really not splitting hairs. Like, anything below 4 is, like, to me, don't watch.
No.
So.
But you know what? The matches can be viewed on YouTube. So, in potato quality and also average quality.
Hey, at least it's in 60. At least you're getting it in 60 FPS.
Woo! Yeah. Although, yeah, the next episode is the War of Independence. It's a much better episode, I think.
I'd
Oh,
say
yeah.
it's one of the best episodes of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. You got your UK bots. You got some good US bots too.
We're hoping to be joined by Anderson and
Owain.
Owain for this one.
Yeah, make up for the audio catastrophe that was the House Robot Rebellion episode. Yeah. That pretty much sums up these 2 episodes. We got done in an hour, everybody.
Yay!
Yay!
So, yeah, I'll be sure to have this released hopefully by the end of the day. I gotta go and get some WrestleMania tickets.
And I gotta go and drink some of my mint julep.
What the hell is mint julep?
It's a common beverage in the South.
The South, eh?
Well, yeah, because the South won the Civil War, so I gotta get a mint julep.
Yeah, and I gotta go tell Derpy to vacuum and Mondo Bizarro to sweep up. A little fun fact, I have a video on my channel. I stuck one of those little broom things on Mondo's drum, and it just runs around under my bed mopping up. It's really funny.
Nice.
Yeah, but that does it for this episode, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a real shame that Robot Wars has been canceled, but that doesn't mean it's the end of the sport. Because we've also got King of Bots, Clash Bots, and Battle Bots.
Let's not talk about Clash Bots.
Well, you
Yeah,
never
2
know.
out of 3 of those are good.
We don't know yet. We have heard there were good matches, but the experience was not good. So we'll have to find out.
Did you guys see those pictures of them like laminating everybody's phones?
Oh God. Yeah. I don't know. Robot Wars, the DashCon edition.
Robot Wars at KatsuCon.
Robot Wars at. Oh fuck me! What is the name? Robot Wars at Kilroy Con. If you don't know what Kilroy is, basically it was supposed to be a convention for free speech activists, and then everybody left because the person running it was an SJW. Yeah, well done.
So they attended the free speech thing and left because they didn't like what other people were saying.
The free speech thing hasn't even happened yet. It's supposed to happen in April, but I don't even know if it's happening. You know what is happening in April though?
BattleBots.
Not just that, Robo Games.
Oh,
And
yeah.
WrestleMania.
Oh yes, April's going to be a big month for everybody. Ian's going to Robo Games. I'm going to Robo Games. A few Robot Wars competitors are going to be at Robo Games too. So
King B and Foxic, I know. Anyone
King
else?
B, Foxic, Ed Hoppet from Storm 2, I believe, is coming. His robot is on the waiting list, but I don't know if he's fighting. But he is on the King B team.
It's a shame it's a shame about the weight differences between the U.S. and the U.K. because I'd love to see Michael Oates enter with Eruption and see how he'd do.
Well, I think he can take off most of those panels. Like he put on a lot of junk to get past the Robot Wars producers who are so we don't like these boring flippas. So I'm just gonna stick a devil lock on the top of my robot and say it's a crusher.
Yep.
Yeah, that just about does it for this episode. Nate's going crazy right now. Hoping he doesn't have to review this episode again. Don't worry, you don't have to. But, I think, hopefully we'll finish the Season 1 of Extreme Warriors before Robo Games. We still have a month. So, I guess, we have 2 more episodes. I don't think we're going to be reviewing the World Championship.
Yeah, we got 2 more episodes.
Yeah, we got 2 more. We should do it all by then. But until then, we're going to enjoy this nice weather before we get another nor'easter. Until then, I'm the Hardcore Kid.
And I'm Otaku Nate.
And I'm ResettisReplicas.
Peace out, and never cease.
Oh, you didn't know?
Duh, duh, duh.